All right, are you ready? Let's get those gardening gloves out because we are diving deep today
Deep dives.
into what to plant in February, a simple guide. It's from Petit Garden Paradise. Have you heard of it?
Oh, yeah, it's a good one.
Yeah, so it's time, like, ditch the winter blues, right? See
Yeah,
what we can get growing right now.
right now. Yeah.
Doesn't matter where you live or if you're, a beginner gardener.
Absolutely.
Doesn't matter.
It's for everybody.
And you know what? This guide has some really cool surprises.
Yeah.
We're talking unexpected plants,
Oh, fun.
like clever hacks, using stuff you probably already have just lying around.
Oh, that's my favorite kind of gardening.
Right.
Yeah, I love that.
Like, who knew?
I'm all about it.
So what I found really interesting about this guide is it really zeroes in on that planting by zone concept,
Right.
which I think a lot of people, maybe they overlook that.
Yeah, they kind of just grab a seed packet
Yeah,
and hope for the best. But
exactly.
this breaks it down for warm climates like Southern California, more temperate zones, like Oregon,
Yeah.
and even the chillier parts of the country,
Oh, wow.
like Minnesota.
Okay, so everyone gets their own little...
Everyone gets a plan.
Oh, I love that. Okay, so I am definitely guilty of just grabbing whatever seed packet looks pretty
Yeah.
without even thinking
And
about
it will grow. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's right for my zone or anything.
Right.
So this whole USDA plant hardiness zone thing,
Yeah.
can you break that down for us a little bit?
Yeah. So think of it like a map
Okay.
that divides the country
Okay.
based on average minimum winter temperatures.
I see.
So it helps you figure out which plants are going to do well in your climate.
Right.
What's really cool is that you can have microclimates even in the same zone.
Really?
So, yeah, so like a south-facing wall, for example,
Wow.
that can create like a little pocket of warmth.
Oh, that's so
So
interesting.
you can, maybe push the boundaries a little bit.
Oh, that's neat. I like that.
Yeah.
So I need to know my zone. Got it.
Yes.
But here's something that I bet a lot of people don't realize. You can plant veggies outdoors.
Yes.
Even in February.
Yes.
Like,
What?
that blew my mind.
It's true.
This guide blew my mind when it said that
Yeah.
spinach, carrots, peas, kale,
Mm.
they're tougher than they look, huh?
They are, those plants, they've either adapted to handle a little bit of frost
Yeah.
or they have a really fast growth cycle. So
Oh.
that lets them mature
Okay.
before things get too hot.
That makes sense.
The guide actually mentions a gardener who left pansies out, like all winter long accidentally, and they
Oh.
came back even stronger the next spring.
What?
Yeah, so there's a lesson in
Oh, some
resilience
variance
there, right?
here. Okay, well, for those of us who maybe are a little less patient,
Mhm.
like me, indoor seeds starting,
Oh, yeah!
this is where it's at.
That's exciting.
This guy has all these great tips for starting things like broccoli,
Yes.
lettuce, even basil indoors.
Oh, yeah.
And the best part is that it talks about using recycled containers. So egg cartons, yogurt cups, you name it.
So
It's
smart.
all about being resourceful,
And sustainable, yeah. I love that.
which I think is such a key takeaway here, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Like, gardening doesn't have to be expensive or
No.
complicated.
No, it's about using what you have.
Yes.
Even if it's just like an old yogurt container and a sunny window.
Exactly. And I've actually had great luck growing tomatoes in yogurt cups.
Oh, nice.
Like,
Seriously.
What do you do? Just poke holes?
Yeah, you just poke a few holes in the bottom for
Sure.
drainage,
Yeah.
and you're good to go.
That's great.
And the guide mentions this really cool tip about using a cheap grow light.
Yeah.
If you don't have the best natural light,
Especially in February. Yeah.
especially in February, it's like
Yeah. That's great.
anyone can do it.
Makes it accessible.
Yes. So accessible.
I love that.
Okay, speaking of accessible, let's talk about the dreaded F word.
Uh-oh. Frost.
I know.
Even in February, those surprise chills can wreak havoc on your plants.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
So I've definitely had my share of frost disasters.
Me too.
But this guide has some really great tips
Yeah.
on protecting your plants, and a lot of them are DIY and super affordable.
Oh, good.
So we're talking milk jug greenhouses,
Cute.
old blankets, and even just using mulch strategically.
Oh, that's good.
I know, right?
That's a good one.
So it's all about creating a little microclimate, basically. So the milk jug acts like a mini greenhouse, trapping heat and moisture.
Yeah, that's so smart.
And then blankets and mulch provide insulation.
Keeps those roots warm.
Yeah, keeps those roots all cozy and protected.
Aw.
I once tried using a plastic tarp for frost protection,
Oh.
but let's just say the wind had other plans.
Oh.
And my neighbors got a surprise gift.
A flying tarp.
Yeah. But hey, listen, lesson learned.
Right.
Secure those frost protectors.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
That's all part of the learning process, right?
Absolutely. Mistakes happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes they're the best learning experiences.
They're,
To minimize mishaps, let's talk about something that can give you a serious edge: companion planting.
okay, companion planting always sounded a little bit too woo-woo for me,
I know.
but this guide broke it down in a way that
Yeah.
makes so much sense.
Good.
So basically, it's all about pairing certain plants together because they actually help each other thrive.
It's teamwork.
It's teamwork in the garden.
Yeah, I love it.
So certain plants have natural properties that deter pests
Yes.
or attract beneficial insects,
Right.
or they even improve soil conditions for their neighbors.
It's incredible.
Right. It's amazing.
Oh, cool.
So the guide mentions planting lettuce with radishes.
Okay, good one.
So radishes grow quickly.
All right.
They mark the rows for your lettuce, which
Yeah.
is slower growing.
Love that.
And that pungent smell helps repel pests.
Oh,
That's what
smart.
they say.
I love it.
Brilliant.
It's so smart.
The guide also talks about peas and carrots being like the power couple in the garden.
Oh, yeah.
I never knew that.
So peas,
Yeah.
they're nitrogen fixers,
Okay.
which means that they're pulling nitrogen from the air,
Oh, wow.
converting it into a form that other plants can use.
Oh, that's amazing.
Carrots love nitrogen,
Of course they do.
so they do great when they're planted near peas.
I love that.
So it's all about like understanding those relationships
Yeah.
and using them
To your advantage.
to your advantage. Exactly.
Okay. And just like in real life, there are some plant combos that are best avoided.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Right. The guide calls them like garden frenemies.
I love that. Yes.
I love that. It's so funny.
That's so true.
So for instance, onions and peas apparently just don't get along.
You don't want to invite them both to the party.
No.
Right.
Who knew that plants could be so dramatic?
I know they have like their preferences.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
But in all seriousness, it makes you realize that companion planting is not just some like whimsical gardening trend.
Oh, no.
There's real science behind it.
There's a reason for it.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
And the more we learn about these plant relationships, the more effectively we can create thriving, balanced ecosystems
Absolutely.
in our gardens.
I love that.
But speaking of inundations, we can't forget about the unsung hero of the garden, the soil.
The soil.
Yes, it's so easy to get caught up.
In the pretty plants, yeah.
Yeah, choosing the plants, buying the seeds, but
Healthy soil is key.
it is the foundation for everything.
Absolutely.
So this guide really stresses prepping your soil in February.
Yeah.
And that means loosening it up,
Yes.
adding some compost for nutrients.
Oh, yeah. Did you see the tip about banana peel tea?
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Banana peel tea. Tell me more.
Okay, so it's exactly what it sounds like.
Okay.
You just soak banana peels in water
Okay.
for like a week,
Okay.
and then you use that liquid,
Oh.
but to water your plants.
That's amazing.
It's a great way to recycle those kitchen scraps
Oh,
and give your garden a little potassium boost.
I'm definitely trying that.
Do it.
But I know some folks, they struggle with less than ideal soil conditions.
Yeah.
Like, what if your soil is more like concrete
Yeah.
or you have limited space?
Right.
The guide mentioned something called no-dig gardening, which sounds very intriguing.
Yeah, it's a game changer.
Oh, okay.
Especially if you have like heavy clay soil,
Okay.
or you're working with raised beds or containers instead of tilling or digging. You're basically building up layers of organic matter on top of your existing soil.
Oh, wow.
And it does amazing things for the soil structure.
Oh, that's great.
It helps with weed control.
Awesome.
And it's way easier on your back.
Oh, I love that.
So winning all around.
Okay, so we're getting our soil prepped.
Yes.
We're starting our seeds indoors,
Mm-hmm.
maybe even braving some outdoor planting.
Yeah, if you're feeling adventurous.
But let's be honest, we're all already dreaming about those lush spring gardens.
Oh,
right?
no, I know. Yeah.
So while we're in this February prep mode, it's a perfect time to start planning for spring.
Yeah.
I am a huge fan of the napkin doodle method,
Oh, yeah, I love that.
but this guide has some other great ideas for planning your spring garden.
Yeah.
From free apps
Oh, nice.
to using popsicle sticks as plant markers.
So cute.
I know, so
I
fun.
love it.
And what I thought was most valuable is that it emphasizes ordering those seeds now.
Now, yes.
Because it's so easy to get caught up in the moment come springtime.
Yes.
And then, by then, a lot of those popular varieties might be sold out.
Oh, for sure.
I remember one year I waited too long, and those gorgeous purple carrots I had my heart set on.
Oh, no.
They were nowhere to be found.
I hate when that happens.
I know. It was so sad. It was
Yeah.
heartbreaking. So
It's like missing out on concert tickets.
I know, right?
Yeah, that's the worst.
So this guide is a good reminder to get ahead of the game, snag those seeds while we can.
Yeah.
Plus, it's just fun to browse those seed catalogs on a cold winter day.
I know.
Gets you inspired for spring.
It gets you dreaming.
Yes.
Love that.
And while you're at it, take a look around your house and see what you can repurpose for your spring garden.
Ooh.
So remember those milk jugs we talked about for frost protection?
Yes.
Those can become like mini cloaches
Oh.
to shield young seedlings from like hungry birds come springtime.
Oh, I love that idea.
I know, it's so smart.
Yeah, that's great.
It's like a little recycling challenge for them.
Ah.
Okay, so speaking of challenges, I think one of the biggest takeaways from this guide is just that reminder to grow what you love.
Yeah.
Like, don't feel pressured to plant something just because it's trendy
Exactly.
or everyone else is doing it.
It's your garden. Grow what you like.
Your garden should be a reflection of your tastes and preferences,
For sure.
right? If you hate kale,
Don't grow it.
don't grow it just because it's considered a superfood.
Exactly.
You don't have to grow it. Grow what brings you joy.
Yes.
Grow what excites you to get out there.
And get your hands dirty.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So before we move on to part 2 of our deep dive,
Okay.
what's standing out to you so far?
Yeah. What surprised you?
What are you itching to try in your garden?
Take a moment and jot down any questions you have.
Yeah.
We'll be digging deeper into specific planting tips, troubleshooting those common problems,
Yes.
and tackling some of those frequently asked questions in the next part of our February gardening adventure.
Awesome. Looking forward to it.
Welcome back to our February gardening deep dive.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground. Like we've talked about prepping the soil, seed starting,
Yeah, all the exciting stuff.
all the good stuff.
Yeah.
But I think it's time to get real about some of the like common gardening blunders that we all make,
Oh, yeah, for sure.
especially this time of year.
Absolutely.
I know I'm guilty.
Me too.
So let's talk about the things that we should not be planting in February.
Right.
Like I am definitely guilty of getting ahead of myself.
Yes.
I see a sunny day and suddenly I'm dreaming of watermelon and tomatoes.
Oh, yeah, I feel that. It's so tempting.
It's so tempting, I know, but you can't do
You
it.
got to be patient. Nature has its timeline, right?
Right.
And the guide specifically mentions things like tomatoes, peppers, cucumbers.
Okay.
And yes, watermelon as a big no-no
Okay.
for direct outdoor planting.
This early in the year.
Yeah, this one in the
Got
Arctic zones, yeah.
Yeah, it's like trying to like wear sandals in a snowstorm.
Right,
It's
exactly.
just not going to work.
It's not going to work.
I learned that the hard way a few years back when I tried planting zucchini in February.
Uh-oh.
We had a surprise frost, and zucchini dreams turned into mush.
Oh, no.
It was so sad.
That's the worst.
So, yeah, you think that those like few warm sunny days
Yeah, trips.
mean that winter is over.
Yeah, you're like, oh, spring is here.
But it's not.
But it's not, yeah.
So the guide reminds us to check our last frost date
Yeah, that's important.
and be patient.
Be patient, work with nature, not against it.
Okay, I like that. So what's a gardener to do when they're just like itching to grow those warm season veggies?
Right, you've got that spring fever.
I know.
Well, the guide suggests a couple of clever workarounds.
Okay, I like that.
So if you're in a warmer zone, using closes or cold frames
Okay.
can kind of extend your season a little bit
Okay,
and give them a bit of protection.
makes sense.
And for those of us in cooler regions, starting seeds indoors is really the way to go.
Yeah, it's the best way.
Gives those heat-loving plants a good head start,
Totally.
so they'll be ready to rock and roll.
Once it warms up.
Once it warms up, exactly.
Okay, speaking of seedlings,
Yes.
the troubleshooting section in this
Oh,
guide
yes.
is a lifesaver.
It's so helpful.
It covers just about everything that can go wrong.
Yeah.
Yellowing leaves.
Leggy seedlings.
Leggy seedlings.
Holes in the leaves, you name it.
It's all there.
It's all there.
So troubleshooting is like detective work in the garden, right?
It really is. Yeah, you have to kind of figure out what's going on.
Yeah.
What are the clues?
Put on your detective hat.
Exactly.
So the guide breaks down those like common seedling problems and offers those like simple practical solutions.
Yes, I love that it's so practical.
Yeah, it's very actionable.
Very straightforward.
So for instance, if your seedlings are like stretching
Yes.
and getting all spindly,
Oh, yeah, we call those leggy.
leggy, yeah,
They're reaching for the light.
they're reaching, it usually means they're not getting enough light.
Right, they're desperate, so you can move them to a brighter spot.
Okay.
Or even just give them a little haircut, believe it or not.
What?
Yeah, you just pinch off the top.
To encourage bushier growth.
Yes, exactly. That's amazing what a little haircut can do.
That's crazy. I love that.
I know, it's fun.
And I love how the guide provides those like visual cues too.
Yes.
And like if your soil is as dry as a bone,
Yeah, it's time to water.
you know, you need to water. Exactly.
Right.
It just makes things so much easier to understand.
Visuals are so helpful.
Yes.
Remember, gardening is all about observation.
Yeah.
The more you pay attention to
Yeah.
what your plants are telling you,
Yeah.
the better you'll become at understanding what they need.
That's a good point.
Right.
Okay, let's circle back to companion planting for a minute.
Okay.
We talked about the plant BFFs.
Yes.
But what about those garden frenemies?
Ooh, yes.
The plant combos that we should avoid.
Right, those are important to know. We touched on this earlier,
Yeah.
but it's worth exploring a little further.
Okay.
While some plants they love to hang out together.
Yeah.
Others, not so much.
Right.
Classic example from the guide, onions and peas.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
They do not get along.
Okay, so I was actually surprised by that one.
Yeah.
What's the deal with onions and peas?
Well, apparently, onions release a substance
Okay.
that can actually inhibit the growth of peas.
What?
Yeah, so it's like this subtle chemical warfare that's happening underground.
That's wild. I had no idea that plants were so complex.
They're so sneaky.
It's like a whole soap opera playing out in the garden.
I know, right? All that drama.
It's hilarious, but in all seriousness,
Yeah.
it makes you realize that companion planting,
Yeah.
it's not just some whimsical gardening cleanse.
No, it's not just like a fun little thing.
Right,
like backed by science.
There's real science behind it.
There is. It's fascinating.
Very interesting.
It is, and the more we learn about these relationships,
Yeah.
the better gardeners we can be, right?
That's a good point.
More balanced ecosystems in our gardens.
Exactly. But speaking of balance, let's talk about watering in February.
Okay, yes, watering, that's a tricky one.
Because it's cold,
Right.
the soil might be wet from snow or rain.
Confusing.
Like, how much do we water?
Right. It's a delicate dance this time of year.
Okay.
So the guide, it stresses the importance of checking the soil moisture
Okay.
before you do anything.
Got it.
Sticking your finger in the soil.
The old-fashioned method.
Yeah, the tried and true. If it feels dry an inch or two down,
Okay.
then it's time to give it a drink.
Okay, I tend to overwater out of fear that my plants are thirsty.
Oh, I understand that. But
Yeah.
sometimes less is more.
Sometimes less is more, yeah.
Exactly. So the guide uses this analogy. It says aim for the moisture level of like a wrung out sponge,
Okay,
which I think is a great visual.
okay.
So moist, but not soggy.
Not soggy?
Right, because overwatering,
Too much of a good thing?
yeah, can lead to root rot, which is a recipe for disaster.
Not good.
No, nobody wants that.
This guide is packed with, so much good advice.
It really is.
It's making me rethink some of my old gardening habits, for sure.
That's the beauty of learning, right?
Yes.
We're always evolving,
Yeah.
refining those techniques.
Okay, so before we jump into the FAQ section,
Okay.
I want to just pause and reflect for a moment.
Okay, I love that.
What's one assumption that you had about gardening
Yeah.
that you might now be willing to challenge?
Ooh, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Take a moment to gather your thoughts.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that after a quick break.
Okay, we're back. Final stretch of our February gardening deep dive.
I'm ready.
Okay, good. So we've talked about a lot.
We have.
We've debunked some myths,
Lots of myths.
uncovered the secrets of companion planting.
The drama, the friendship.
I know.
All of it.
Even ventured into the realm of troubleshooting.
Oh, yes.
But before we wrap things up,
Yeah.
let's tackle some of those burning questions.
Ooh, yes.
It might be, swirling around in your head.
I've got a lot of those.
The FQ's answered section in this guide is pure gold.
It is. Really good practical advice.
Okay, so let's start with a classic. Can you plant carrots in February?
Okay, that's a good one.
I mean, those little seeds just seem so delicate.
They do.
But the guide says it is possible.
It is.
Right.
But there's a catch.
Okay, so catch.
Soil temperature is key.
Okay.
If your ground is frozen solid, they're not going to stand a chance.
Of course.
Right. So for colder zones, the guide recommends
Okay.
using raised beds or containers
Oh.
to kind of warm things up a little bit.
Oh, that's smart.
And plus, as a bonus, carrots in pots, so much easier to harvest.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. You just tip the pot over, shade them out.
That is a great tip.
Right.
Okay, here's another one that I've always been curious about. Is February too early for potatoes?
Okay, so again, it depends.
Okay, so location matters.
Yeah, if you're in a warmer zone, lucky you, they can go straight in the ground.
Oh, nice.
But for cooler climates, the guide suggests chitting.
Okay, I got to be honest. The word chitting,
I know.
it sounds a little intimidating.
Right.
Like something kind of a Harry Potter spell book.
A little bit. What does that even mean?
So what exactly does it entail?
So it's actually very simple.
Okay, good.
It basically means you're encouraging your seed potatoes to sprout
Okay.
before you plant them.
Okay.
So the guide recommends placing them in egg cartons
Oh, okay.
near a window where they'll get some indirect light.
Okay.
And as they sprout, you'll see these little nubs emerge.
Okay.
The guide calls them zombie arms,
Oh, that's kind of creepy.
which I just love. It's so funny.
That's hilarious.
But once those sprouts are about an inch long,
Okay.
you're good to go.
Go ready.
They're ready to go into the garden.
Okay, that's not nearly as complicated as I thought.
No, chilling, not so scary.
Not so scary.
You can handle it.
All right, last FAQ I want to touch on, and this is one that I think we can all relate to. Why are my seedlings so leggy?
Oh, yeah, the classic leggy seedling problem.
It's like they're stretching, reaching for the sky.
They are, and it's usually a sign that they're not getting enough light.
Okay, so light deprivation.
Yeah, they're desperate. They're reaching for those rays.
They need that vitamin D.
So the guide recommends a couple of simple solutions.
Okay.
You can try moving them to a brighter location.
Okay.
If that's not an option, rotate the pots regularly.
Okay, so everyone gets a turn to
Exactly.
face the sun.
So they all get even light exposure.
Okay.
And if all else fails, you can give them a little haircut.
A haircut
Yeah, pinch off the top.
to encourage bushier growth.
Exactly.
Okay, I like
I
that.
know, it's kind of fun, right?
It's like playing plant hairdresser.
I know.
All right, so what does all of this mean for you, our listener, our fellow gardening enthusiast?
Yeah, good question.
What are the key takeaways from this whole deep dive into February gardening?
I think, first and foremost, remember, February doesn't have to be a dormant month in the garden.
Yeah, you can just start it.
Those hands dirty.
Yeah, doesn't matter where you live, there's something you can do.
Yeah, get your Irving thumb on.
Whether it's starting those seeds indoors, prepping that soil, or even braving a few early plantings.
Yeah, or maybe even all three.
Right,
Go big.
and don't be afraid to experiment.
Yeah, have fun with it.
Gardening is all about trial and error, finding what works best for you in your unique environment.
Exactly. No two gardens are the same.
Right. That's the beauty of gardening. There's always something new to learn, to discover.
Right. And remember, this guide is a great starting point, but use your imagination.
Yes.
Get creative. Think outside the box.
Exactly.
There's no right or wrong answer when it comes to gardening.
If February could be a productive gardening month,
Who knows what else is possible?
imagine the possibilities, right?
I know, it's exciting.
Maybe you can extend your harvest into the fall with a little planning.
Yeah.
Maybe you can transform that shady corner of your yard.
Into like a fern paradise.
Right.
Yeah, don't limit yourself.
Don't limit yourself.
Let
Exactly.
your imagination run wild.
So embrace the joy of nurturing life, savor those small victories, and never stop exploring the wonders of the natural world.
I love that.
Right. And remember, gardening isn't just about the end result.
No,
It's not just about the delicious homegrown veggies or the vibrant blooms.
it's about the journey.
It's about the process. It's
Yeah.
about the connection to nature, that sense of accomplishment.
Yeah, it's a form of self-care.
Exactly.
A stress relief.
A creative outlet.
So good.
So go forth and get your hands dirty,
Yeah,
experiment, have fun, and grow what you love.
exactly.
We'd love to hear about your February gardening adventures, so be sure to share your experiences with us on social media.
We'll be looking out for you.
Okay, happy planting, friend.
Happy planting.